Okay, people, want to show you how I acclimate fish. Basically what I have is I have a pitcher. I took the bag of water with the fish, dumped them in this pitcher. That was only, maybe an inch or so. And then I've strained this tube in here, and it's just a real slow drip. This has been probably dripping in here about an hour now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out of the pitcher, and my fish are in there. Basically what I did is, this is my quarantine tank. It's just got a bubble bar for air movement. It's blank bottom. I've got a heater in there to make sure I can match the heat of my main tank, a light so I can see, and then a little filter which really isn't doing that much, just maybe picking up a little bit of the extra food I use. The reason I do this is, one, I've got fish in my other tank, and introducing new fish from a pet store, you don't know what you're bringing home. Yes, all fish have ick already. If they're stressed, that's when ick becomes a problem. But there's other parasites and bacteria that a fish can bring home, and I just feel a lot better, especially in my 125, because you could bring one fish home that has something, and in a week all your fish have it, and you could lose, easily $100 with their fish, depending on what kind of fish you have. So I think this is the best way to go. I bought all this right here for about 40 bucks. But it's probably saved me over hundreds of dollars of fish that's died in here because of who knows what. But what you do is, after your pitcher's filled up with water from that slow drip, you just take it over a bucket, and you dump all your fish out. Make sure there's no guys still in the bottom, and you just tip it over, and there's your new fish. And now what I'll do is I'll let those guys set in here for about a week and just monitor their activity. Another great thing about this is I can make sure all these guys are eating before I take them and put them in my main tank too. If a fish isn't eating, that's a problem. So you don't want to go taking that fish and putting him in your tank if he's not eating, because one, once he gets in your tank, you might not know if he's eating or not, and two, if he's not eating, he's probably sick. So this is just an easy way you can monitor him and see what's going on. There's nothing for him to hide around. I've actually got some PVC pipe. I can put this in here. If I was putting a fish in here that liked to hide, like a rope fish or a knife or something like that, I would put these in here. But these Rasboras, they don't really need anything to hide around, so I'm just going to leave them in there like that. Typically, for the first 2, maybe 3 days, I'll even shut the light off to reduce the stress. I might add some Melflex in there to help. But, this is just how I quarantine fish before adding them to my tank. The other thing I use this tank for is, if one of my fish do get sick in my main tank, I can set this up really quick, draw 10 gallons of water out of my main tank, set this up, and move that fish immediately over, get him out of my tank before he makes any of my other fish sick. A 10-gallon tank is easier to medicate than 125 gallons. Saves you a lot more money, but you don't just have to throw them in here and immediately throw medicine in with them. You can put a little bit of salt in here. That helps fishes helps them heal. Or you could just put them in here and monitoring them. Let them get a little bit better. Make sure they're eating. It's easier to watch something in a tank by itself without a bunch of plants, a bunch of decorations. This is just easier. So I think this is a great idea for really cheap. If somebody's got a lot of tanks or a big tank, this could be a lifesaver of not having all your fish die. So that's my thought on it. Give me a comment. Tell me what you think. I'd love to know what other people do. But thanks.